Today on Crash Course World History, we are going to be discussing the scientific revolution. The first topic that we're going to be looking at is the scientific revolution. The scientific revolution took place in the mid-1500s. The scientific revolution gave the world a new way of thinking, and this thinking was based off of facts in the natural world. During the scientific revolution, there were many discoveries and new ways of conducting science. Also, at this time period, many of the previous discoveries were now being challenged. Some of the most important people that we're going to focus on in this video are Nicholas Copernicus, Francis Bacon, Galileo Galilei, and Isaac Newton. So we're going to start with Nicholas Copernicus. Well, before the scientific revolution, many people believed that the Earth was the center of the universe. However, Copernicus believed that the Sun was the center of the universe and all of the other planets revolved around it. This was known as the heliocentric theory. So we've seen how Copernicus has played a very large role in our history when it comes to helping us organize our universe. If it was not for him, we may still have some people today who believe that the Earth is the center of our universe. So here we have a picture of Nicholas Copernicus, and I think that this picture is important because it shows us what he looks like. So this is a picture of the heliocentric theory. Now, to the image to the left, we see how the Earth is the center of the solar system. Now, we obviously know that is not true because of the heliocentric theory, but we see how the Sun and the Moon and all the other planets and stars all are around the Earth. Now, to the image to the right, we see the heliocentric theory, where the Sun is the center and the Earth, the Moon, the other planets, everything all revolves around the Sun. Next, we're going to talk about Galileo. Galileo was responsible for the law of the pendulum. This was the idea that the pendulum swings back and forth until it comes to a complete stop. The duration of the swing was dependent on how big that the swing was. Galileo was also responsible for the law of motion. This was the idea that an object would fall at the same speed the whole time that it is falling. Finally, Galileo was the first person to use a telescope for astronomical purposes. This means that up to this point, telescopes were never used to study our solar system. While he was studying our solar system, he specifically studied Jupiter's moons. Galileo has proved himself to be one of our history's most influential scientists because of all the amazing discoveries that he has made. If it was not for him, we would likely have never have the law of motion or the law of the pendulum. He was able to adjust the earliest models of the telescopes and discover and study more about our universe. And this is a picture of Galileo. And again, I think it is important because it showed us what he looks like. So, in this picture, we see Galileo's telescope, and we can tell it is a lot different than today's telescope. And he was able to tweak the telescopes at the time to make this, that way he could observe the solar system. Here's a diagram of Galileo's law of the pendulum. So we can see how the pendulum goes back and forth until it comes to a complete stop. And we can also see that how far back you pull it, that's how far or fast it'll travel. So now let's talk about Francis Bacon. Bacon was an English politician and a writer. He criticized the work of many other scientists and scholars. He didn't like their approach on how they conducted science. He thought that they should focus more on observing before they jumped to their conclusions. So he created the scientific method. The scientific method provided a new way of conducting science. This system allowed for scientists to check each other's work. This also lets scientists go back and check out their mistakes and make the corrections that they need. These stages were to ask yourself a question, then create a procedure, experiment, analyze your results, and then conclude. So just to break that down, first you would find something to question. Then you would write your prediction to what would happen. Then you do your experiment. Once the experiment is over, you collect your data and come up with an answer. Bacon gave scientists a new and efficient way of conducting science. This system is so successful that modern day scientists still use this today. Here we have a picture of Francis Bacon, who we know created the scientific method. This picture is important because it showed us what he looked like at the time. The last important person that we're going to talk about in the scientific revolution was Isaac Newton. Newton is most commonly known for his law of gravity. He realized that the same force that controlled the pendulum also controlled the solar system. This was known as gravity, and this is known as the law of gravity. He believed that God is the creator of everything. The law of gravity is very important to us because gravity affects us every single day. Gravity has played such a large role in many sciences that we study today. There are also many other sciences and scientists that were influenced by Newton's discoveries. Newton is also the father of calculus. Calculus is a branch of mathematics. So we have Newton, who has not only affected and influenced the world of science, but he also plays a very large role when it comes to mathematics. Finally, here we have a picture of Isaac Newton, who created the law of gravity and is the father of calculus. I think that this picture is important because it tells us a lot about his appearance. And here's a picture of Newton's law of gravity, and I'm sure that many of us know what gravity is already. Hopefully this picture gives you an idea of how many amazing things in mathematics was possible because of Isaac Newton's discovery. I wanted to thank you for watching today's Crash Course World History about the scientific revolution. This music was taken from Crash Course World History theme on YouTube.